If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Struggle is strengthening. Battling with evil gives us the power to battle evil even more. Just as the constant increase of entropy is the basic law of the universe, so it is the basic law of life to be ever more highly structured and to struggle against entropy. Where there is no struggle, there is no strength. Those who do not move do not notice their chains. If you're absent during my struggle, don't expect to be present during my success. And in which we say that life is eternal but continue to struggle to survive. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Never throughout history has a man who lived a life of ease left a name worth remembering. We Jews have a secret weapon in our struggle with the Arabs. We have no place to go. The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. A constant struggle, a ceaseless battle to bring success from inhospitable surroundings, is the price of all great achievements. Once you fully apprehend the vacuity of a life without struggle, you are equipped with the basic means of salvation. Struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. When you struggle with your partner, you are struggling with yourself. Every fault you see in them touches a denied weakness in yourself. Obstacles are necessary for success because in selling, as in all careers of importance, victory comes only after many struggles and countless defeats. The probability that we may fail in this struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. Struggle begets strength. Struggle is inevitable, growth is optional. Struggle is part of the journey. Without struggle, there is no success. Struggle is nature's way of strengthening it. Struggle is gruesome only for the weak. Struggle is the architect of the soul. Struggle is the enemy, but weed is the remedy. Struggle is what it means to be alive and free. Struggle isn't fun, but it's an opportunity to be brave. Struggle to sketch the flow that already exists intact in mind. Life lessons build strength, and life is truly a beautiful struggle. Struggle shapes our character, and character dictates what we will become. Take it from me, life's a struggle, but you can win. No battle is ever lost. The struggle of change is always winning. We will now discuss in a little more detail the struggle for existence. Struggles are part of everyday life. May you have grace to overcome any struggle. Struggle for your goals, because it's too much better than struggling for your life. Without a struggle, there can be no progress. Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle. The history of the past is but one long struggle upward to equality. Once you make it to your point of making it, you'll appreciate the struggle. Self-struggle is spiritual. The struggle is beautiful. Strength and struggle travel together. Mankind advances only through struggle. Pledge allegiance to the struggle. Life is a beautiful struggle. Life is struggle and sleep. I find everything a struggle. My life is a struggle. To those who struggle comes strength. Receive without conceit, release without struggle. Fastidious taste makes enjoyment a struggle. Fastidious taste makes enjoyment a struggle. Readers pass vocabulary tests, non-readers struggle. Man has become great through struggle. Everything's been a struggle for me. Hope is a function of struggle. Writing is a struggle against silence. There is no gain without struggle. Will doesn't have to be struggle. The struggle is what teaches you. I struggle with racism every day. My life is a beautiful struggle. The struggle ends when gratitude begins. Against boredom, even gods struggle in vain. Success is never so interesting as struggle. Attaining even mediocrity is often a struggle. Embrace struggle, it is your greatest teacher. Life is always struggle with eternal forces. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. There's no satisfaction without a struggle first. It's the struggle that makes you triumphant. If you can't sell tickets, you'll struggle. You can graciously live through every struggle. There is no alternative to class struggle. The struggle I went through has value. There is scarcely any passion without struggle. Language is also a place of struggle. Only through struggle have I found rest. The perpetual struggle for room and food. I liked performing, but not the struggle. Out of struggle very often comes victory. So the lover must struggle for words. We all struggle only to make tomorrow. So, the struggle for equal educational opportunity continues. The struggle alone pleases us, not the victory. Once all struggle is grasped, miracles are possible. The political struggle against marriage equality is war. The difference between neurosis and wisdom is struggle. We shall not achieve socialism without a struggle. Particularly with middle-class people, self-absorption is a struggle. Democracy is a life and involves continual struggle. Particularly with middle-class people, self-absorption is a struggle. The struggle for freedom and justice is now. The triumph can't be had without the struggle. It's always a struggle growing up in Akron. Every inch of progress is won in struggle. She didn't struggle, and so she didn't grow. Life is not a struggle, it's a wiggle. Life is one long struggle in the dark. Life is a struggle, but not a warfare. Morality is nothing but a struggle for safety. My struggle is to bring life in file. All life is a struggle in the dark. We must be warriors in the struggle against ignorance. My struggle to remain healthy is gradually killing me. Writing is a struggle no matter what the genre. The greater the struggle, the more glorious the triumph. We can't have a freedom struggle without free choice. It's in the struggle itself that you define yourself. Fate determines many things, no matter how we struggle. The function of art is to struggle against obligation. If you dare to struggle, you dare to win. Tradition remains alive only when we struggle with it. Life is fragile, yet to obstinately struggle is natural. Both success and struggle are different kinds of trauma. Never will they label our liberation struggle as criminal. Prayer is all, intimacy, struggle yet, the way to reality. Culture is an indispensable weapon in the freedom struggle. Humankind is made for uncertainty, struggle, choice, and change. We struggle with the complexities and avoid the simplicities. Memory only becomes interesting through its struggle with forgetfulness. You cannot deny the struggle denies you. I don't exercise, that's something I struggle with. When we apologize, we end our struggle with history. Change has to come for life to struggle forward. Writing is the way I participate in the struggle. Sometimes it's a struggle to live in the moment. I was ashamed for people to see me struggle. Struggle gives the way to look after the reality. I love coming-of-age stories that have struggle. You struggle with your demons and you conquer them. I always say, dare to struggle, dare to grin. We grow because we struggle, we learn and overcome. I think there can always be beauty in struggle. I always say, dare to struggle, dare to grin. It's the Joshua tree's struggle that gives it its beauty. Give me silence, water, hope, give me struggle, iron, volcanoes. A religious life is a struggle and not a hymn. It is a fight and struggle to just be yourself. The struggle between for and against is the mind's worst disease. I think I'd struggle to get excited by synchronized swimming. Only a struggle twists sentimentality and lust together into love. Strength, both physical and spiritual, is the product of struggle. With every episode of struggle, there is a learning opportunity. A struggle, to the person experiencing it, is a struggle. When yellow lights struggle with blue shades and hair-like lines, he knows that there are occasional pauses in the struggle. Who struggles can fail. Who doesn't struggle has already failed. All great works of art are trophies of victorious struggle. Where there is no struggle, there is absolutely no progress. The struggle against injustice is just another kind of injustice. The Constitution is itself the product of the freedom struggle. Confidence comes from victory, but strength comes from the struggle. I never really had the classic struggle. I had faith. Ease makes less of an impression on us than struggle. We all would like to struggle like Tiger is struggling. My films seem to be about men's struggle with failure. Life is a beautiful struggle, but life is worth living. Competitiveness always rests on the assumption of a life and death struggle. Better to shun the bait than struggle in the snare. Yesterday I dared to struggle, today I dare to win. In man's struggle against the world, bet on the world. When you give up struggle, there's a kind of love. All life is the struggle, the effort to be itself. What people do for the struggle of power is madness. Yet it seems that a final race struggle is unavoidable. First of all, Bolshevism represents revolution and the revolutionary struggle. Life, struggle, even amidst pain and blood and poverty, seemed beautiful. Chess is life in miniature. Chess is struggle. Chess is battles. Self-struggle is spiritual. It is only by grace, the divine self-manifest. Complacency is a continuous struggle that we all have to fight. The world is larger and more beautiful than my little struggle. Wages are determined by the bitter struggle between capitalist and worker. We rarely recognize the extent to which human happiness requires struggle. We're not strong because we struggle because we're strong. The class struggle necessarily leads to the dictatorship of the proletariat. When you struggle with a problem, that's when you understand it. Creativity is essentially a lonely art, an even lonelier struggle. People struggle in marriages, and more than 55% of people get divorced. In the struggle between yourself and the world, second the world. Much of gardening is a struggle against the fecundity of nature. Don't struggle so much. The best things happen when not expected. The depth of your struggle determines the height of your success. My biggest struggle has been balancing where I give my energy. The struggle for morality never stays one. It's always in process. Don't feel entitled to anything you didn't sweat and struggle for. Having nothing to struggle against, they have nothing to struggle for. Every struggle you overcome will build the strength of your spirit. I came to carry out the struggle, not to kill people. There is nobility in the struggle. You don't have to win. Believe me, the reward is not so great without the struggle. Youth is a blunder, manhood a struggle, old age a regret. We create gods and struggle with them, and they bless us. I have faith in human beings. I struggle with that faith. The story is not in the words, it's in the struggle. Everybody was in struggle, in the grind, trying to make it. A work of art is the trace of a magnificent struggle. Business is a fight, a continual struggle, just as life is. When I struggle to be terse, I end by being obscure. It is Martin King who taught that a real moral struggle. The two most powerful words when we're in struggle, me too. For some reason, I struggle seeing myself as a leading man. I may not unnerve myself while I can struggle against evil. Movies were a struggle for me. They didn't come easy. It takes struggle, a goal, and enthusiasm to make a champion. I'd prefer to be good, but I'm not always. I struggle. Family life is a daily struggle to turn love into happiness. A work of art is the trace of a magnificent struggle. The people I admire most are those who struggle for everyone. To die, it's easy, but you have to struggle for life. If you want peace, then you must struggle for social justice. It is the nature of truth to struggle to the light. Having to struggle gave me the chance to demonstrate strength of character. I struggle to come up to people and say what I think. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need tomorrow. All artists yearn to struggle. When they struggle, they know they're alive. That which comes easily departs easily. That which comes of struggle remains. Design is not so much a design issue as a power struggle. The history of architecture is the history of the struggle for light. This is a struggle of good and evil, and we're the good. It's always a struggle to make things sound more or less brilliant. I never had to pound the pavement and really struggle after college. I argue that the Talmud is about the constant struggle to understand. A surrendered heart leads to greatness. A stubborn heart leads to struggle. Every quarrel begins in nothing and ends in a struggle for supremacy. The courageous struggle for a noble cause should be considered success itself. Life is a song, sing it. Life is a struggle, accept it. At the beginning of his struggle, the warrior says, I have dreams. His wings were failing, but he refused to fall without a struggle. In the long struggle against sex trafficking, we finally have a breakthrough. If you forget you have to struggle for improvement, you go backward. In any theological struggle, the first 1,000 years are always the bitterest. Be a war horse for work and enjoy even the struggle against defeat. I struggle in life to find a sense of joy in things. The ability to win increases when you do not fear to struggle. Marxism is a revolutionary worldview that must always struggle for new revelations. American business needs a lifting purpose greater than the struggle of materialism. Work and struggle and never accept an evil that you can change. To love oneself is to struggle to rediscover and maintain your uniqueness. Art is a weapon in the struggle of ideas, the class struggle. The struggle to the top alone will make a human heart swell. At the root of every tantrum and power struggle are unmet needs. The important thing in life is not the triumph, but the struggle. Always remember that striving and struggle precede success, even in the dictionary. Mozart, Vivaldi, Van Gogh stretched their genius on struggle, stress, and survival. Marxism is a revolutionary worldview that must always struggle for new revelations. Always remember that striving and struggle precede success, even in the dictionary. A cry-wanking scene is the struggle to live in a single moment. Living will always be a struggle looking for someone to love you. Nothing should be permanent except struggle with the dark side within ourselves. Words are more ardent if a man must struggle to find them. Reason is the main resource of man in his struggle for survival. When a man's struggle begins within oneself, the man is worth something. In the struggle between those seeking power, there is no middle course. Life is a kind of struggle. Life is a sort of fight. 9 million Americans a year, that we know of, struggle with infertility. I struggle because I love food and sometimes I can't stop eating. My big struggle is how people cannot care, erase, not remember. Education comes from within. You get it by struggle and effort and thought. Philosophy is, in the last instance, class struggle in the field of theory. Whatever we are going through is part of the planetary struggle to evolve. She comprehended the perversity of life, that in the struggle lies the joy. The greatest cause of human financial struggle is the fear of losing money. Man's creative struggle, his search for wisdom and truth, is a love story. A new dynasty is never founded without a struggle. Blood makes good manure. People who become important activists, they also struggle with the process of discovery. Innovation is not born from the dream. Innovation is born from the struggle. As soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolve. Nonviolent struggle is the most powerful means available to those struggling for freedom. Every departure from class struggle has fatal results for the destiny of socialism. Success is less interesting than struggle. There is great pleasure in the effort. Therefore, our fight must primarily be a political mass struggle with revolutionary goals. History records no more gallant struggle than that of humanity against the truth. Anywhere the struggle is great, the level of ingenuity and inventiveness is high. The struggle to be considered a grown-up begins, I believe, shortly after birth. I know for certain people I'm championing a struggle that they're going through. The struggle for your own character is the struggle for the nation's character. Every day sees humanity more victorious in the struggle with space and time. I am convinced that I in the struggle for righteousness man has cosmic companionship. No struggle can ever succeed without women participating side by side with men. The struggle of man against power is the struggle of memory against forgetting. The toughest moment ever in life is the distance between struggle and success. I adore the struggle you carry in yourself. I adore your terrifying sincerity. I'm one of the world's most self-conscious people. I really have to struggle. Make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the struggle for equal rights. The struggle to maintain peace is immeasurably more difficult than any military operation. Life is a kind of chess with struggle, competition, good and ill events. The game of life is worth playing, but the struggle is the prize. Embrace the struggle and let it make you stronger. It won't last forever. Art allows people a way to dream their way out of their struggle. I look for struggle in the roles I choose, struggle and perseverance. I joined the anti-fascist struggle with my best friend, who was a Jew. A long struggle lies in store for me in this field of color. I am a woman with a calling for social struggle and public service. To see what is in front of one's nose needs a constant struggle. I'm going to be a happy idiot and struggle for the legal tender. We all have within us the ability to move from struggle to grace. Life, it seems, a struggle between what we think and what we see. We have no right to believe that freedom can be won without struggle. Life in New York is a constant struggle to die of natural causes. A lot of what is most beautiful about the world arises from struggle. At what point in my struggle with nature will nature finally give up? We knew that you don't get to be world champions without a struggle. Without a minimum of hope, we cannot so much as start the struggle. I do struggle with the fact that I don't have all the answers. He does not struggle with anyone, thus no one can vanquish him. Modern politics is, at bottom, a struggle not of men, but of forces. I struggle with trying to be a good pastor of a large church. Mutual aid is as much a law of animal life as mutual struggle. The trick is to begin looking for the grace hidden beneath the struggle. One monkey don't stop, no show. Not one, not six. The struggle continues. The only way to win a power struggle is to give it up. Life is a struggle, and a good spy goes in there and fights. To win one's joy through struggle is better than to yield to melancholy. A struggle with shyness is in every actor more than anyone can imagine. My writing comes not from the happy moments, but from struggle and grief. What counts in sports is not the victory, but the magnificence of the struggle. All the history of human life has been a struggle between wisdom and stupidity. We have now reached a turning point in the struggle between freedom and terror. It is not life that's complicated, it's the struggle to guide and control life. Every time we push personal development aside, we invite personal struggle into our lives. Very often the things we most desire come only after much patience and struggle. I'm so happy after such a long struggle to be living my true self. All art is a struggle to be, in a particular sort of way, virtuous. Where there is no history of struggle after an uprising, the living memory dies. Don't ever give up what you want in life. The struggle is worth it. The female attention I have to struggle hardest with is from my 2-year-old daughter. It is a struggle, but I don't mind. I will just keep fighting on. I'm glad I've had to struggle. It's made me the artist I am now. The pain that every struggle brings is the beginning stage of your future strength. Every creation is, at its root, the struggle between potential form and imitated form. I have always struggled with the sole intention of ceasing to struggle. Result: 0. Self-loathing doesn't keep me from being happy, but that doesn't mean I don't struggle. In resigning ourselves to our fate without a struggle, we are guilty of inhumanity. The struggle for the right to become politicians in itself made women into politicians. Difficult struggle in mountaineering is our rise above himself, is the voice of freedom. I'm living every day like a hustle, another drug to juggle, another day, another struggle. Be nice to everyone you meet, because everyone is going through their own struggle. To surrender is not giving up the struggle, but finding peace within the struggle. Many of us struggle with ideas that come to our head from our self-identification. I can't help feeling that there is no beauty without hope, struggle, and conquest. Love isn't a state of perfect caring, it is an active noun like struggle. In the struggle for everyone's happiness, the first happiness one found was one's own. In the struggle for the soul of American Jewry, the orthodox model has triumphed. The individual has always to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. The challenge is to become part of the struggle, to make a positive difference. The best clients in the world are the people who cause you to struggle. It is only the Creator that can set thy soul free from every struggle. I think it's very important to teach your children to struggle on some level. In a political struggle, never get personal, else the dagger digs too deep. All politics is a struggle for power. The ultimate kind of power is violence. The black woman had to struggle against being a person of great strength. It's not the struggle that makes us artists, but art that makes us struggle. We were aware of the fact that death walks hand in hand with struggle. A tragedy means always a man's struggle with that which is stronger than man. To live is often to struggle toward goals one has no desire to reach. In the struggle of good against evil, it's always the people who get killed. Your loss we count as our loss, your struggle we take as our struggle. I have a very sharp tongue, I'm very impatient, and it's a lifelong struggle. I feel like finding the balance is the struggle with making music in general. A revolution is a struggle to the death between the future and the past. Attacking or fleeing are part of the struggle. Being paralyzed by fear is not. Let me struggle like a woman, my strength lies in my weakness. The great aim of the struggle for liberty has been equality before the law. We will defend our victory through armed struggle. We will have to do that. It doesn't feel good when you have to struggle to get your pants on. Why struggle to open a door between us when the whole wall is an illusion? The only lost cause is one we give up on before we enter the struggle. Better to accept the wretched truth than struggle, twisting to make a wish a reality. The area where we struggle the most is often the area of our greatest effectiveness. There is a lot more to this life than just the struggle to make money. It is the measure of my individual struggle from darkness toward some measure of light. Look deeply into your soul. You have enough grace and strength to overcome any struggle. Everything about my life seemed so perfect to people, but I struggle like everyone else. There is no thing as a single-issue struggle because we do not live single-issue lives. Jihad can mean holy war to extremists, but it means struggle to the average Muslim. Every book is a kind of struggle, and it's a miracle when it comes out. It is impossible to ignore a highly important factor of the chess struggle. We have to have a purpose greater than the endless struggle to satisfy personal desires. The enduring struggle to capture in words the infinite possibilities of a life not lived. I believe in the necessity for struggle by people at the bottom of any society. To struggle is difficult, but to surrender is easy. Surrender is the beginning of devotion. Leave me alone. I can't struggle when I have the whole world on my side. I know what it feels like to struggle to get the education that you need. When good people in any country cease their vigilance and struggle, then evil men prevail. You're imperfect and you're wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. No fight is harder than the struggle against the thing you want most to believe. There is no sense in the struggle, but there is no choice but to struggle. I'll always struggle over saying I'm a writer, even if I won the Booker Prize. There is nothing in this universe which is not in struggle to keep its existence. To struggle and to understand, never the last without the first, that is the law. Cessation of struggle is like free falling through space without a care in the world. We are tethered to our kind and may as well join hands in the struggle. I wanted to speak strongly about feminism in my life since it's been a struggle. It is a struggle for the minds of the people. No cause justifies recourse to terrorism. You are imperfect, you are wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. You really struggle to be a successful empire if you are also the world's biggest debtor. Have you ever noticed that when you must struggle to hear something, you close your eyes? All unrest is but the struggle of the soul to reassure herself of her inborn immortality. Both my parents are actors, and I saw them struggle with work, waiting for phone calls. You are imperfect, you are wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. For Tibetans, the real strength of our struggle is truth, not size, money, or expertise. I don't feel I have to struggle against allegory. I let the readers do the interpreting. The hardest struggle of all is to be something different from what the average man is. We all struggle alone through the 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows of our lives. If you don't have a struggle inside or around you, you have to make one up. One of the most fascinating lessons I've absorbed about life is that the struggle is good. You are never alone in your struggle. You can overcome any struggle with courage and hope. It's perfectly possible to love your toddler, but struggle to like them when times are hard. I always think that struggle can bring out the best in people, or the worst. I've always had something in my heart where I root for guys who struggle with women. All life is a purposeful struggle, and your only choice is the choice of a goal. Freedom may be the soul of humanity, but often you have to struggle to prove it. The struggle of what one likes and what one dislikes is the disease of the mind. You have to struggle to stay alive and be of use as long as you can. The man whom God wills to slay in the struggle of life, he first individualizes. ... You have to cherish the world at the same time that you struggle to endure it. Out of all this struggle, a good thing is going to grow. That makes it worthwhile. I love the Shakespeare history plays. I love the struggle for the crown as a plot. The goal of our struggle is the end of Israel, and there can be no compromise. He had no strength for any other war than his own solitary struggle to keep alive. In any language, it is a struggle to make a sentence say exactly what you mean. I know what it's like to struggle and to have those concerns that all mothers have. Who wants to read about success? It is the early struggle which makes a good story. I am sort of drawn toward places in the world where there is struggle and conflict. It's been a struggle for me because I had a chance to be white and refused. We have only one task: to stand firm and carry on the racial struggle without mercy. The human race has been in a long struggle to eliminate murder, and we will succeed. Songwriting's never been a natural art for me. It's always been a bit of a struggle. I try to find hope in struggle and resistance in small places as much as I can. It's a long struggle being an actor. I don't know if I'd ever recommend it to anybody. The more we struggle for life as pleasure, the more we are actually killing what we love. The struggle of today is not altogether for today, it is for a vast future also. What was the point in satin and lace if it didn't make a man struggle to speak? Life is a continued struggle to be what we are not, and to do what we cannot. Does the devil ever struggle to be good again? Or if so, is he not a devil? My whole life has been a struggle between poetry and prose, or call it music and law. I think most people struggle over a matter of years to find a satisfying way to live. Oh, how blessed young men are who have to struggle for a foundation and beginning in life. Often writing is like a struggle to get back to a kind of belated, quite impure virginity. The daily struggle does not arise from a purpose or a program, but from an immediate need. I like to crack the jokes now and again, but it's only because I struggle with math. There is no need to struggle to be free. The absence of struggle is in itself freedom. My goal is to connect the young teachers to the old, to reignite their sense of struggle. A lot of people struggle in their younger years, and I think people can relate to that. The victory over our inner self is a daily struggle. Be strong and do not give up. I've been in the struggle over 70 years. It doesn't bother me I may not win. I'm an easy person to get along with. Even when I struggle, I have the same attitude. Life is not a struggle, not a tension. Life has not to be suffering. Life is bliss. We find after years of struggle that we do not take a trip takes us. All is mystery, but he is a slave who will not struggle to penetrate the dark veil. This is not a jungle war, but a struggle for freedom on every front of human activity. How base a thing it is when a man will struggle with necessity. We have to die. This music is about struggle. Reggae is a vehicle to carry a message of freedom and peace. You don't see the struggle part of a person's life. You only see the success they have. If you give up at the first sign of struggle, you're really not ready to be successful. I can direct things, but I can't write. My memory is going, so I struggle for words. I have fun writing. I don't make it a chore. I don't have to struggle with it. I could field as long as I can remember, but hitting has been a struggle all my life. I love clothes, but it's a struggle for me to get out of jeans and a baggy jumper. I am proud that I have devoted all my life to the struggle for the triumph of Leninism. I haven't had to struggle very much. I haven't paid my dues. I think I have been lucky. I believe we are now in a struggle over whether or not we are going to save America. The real struggle for us is for the citizen to cease to be the property of the state. I've never for a second felt like my job has been more of a struggle because I'm a woman. Man owes his strength in the struggle for existence to the fact that he is a social animal. The central struggle of parenthood is to let our hopes for our children outweigh our fears. Originality and a feeling of one's own dignity are achieved only through work and struggle. History is a record of the incessant struggle of humanity against ignorance and oppression. Nothing so tires a person as having to struggle, not with himself, but with an abstraction. Certain members of the oppressor class join the oppressed in their struggle for liberation. The hope of remaking the world is indispensable in the struggle of oppressed men and women. Is the human condition not defined by an endless struggle to control the ego's subterfuges? Parenting is a constant struggle between making your kids' life better and ruining your own. What else is life from the time you were born but a struggle to matter, at least to someone? If there ever is a struggle, making a good movie will always supersede the need to be noble. It's the things you fight for and struggle with before earning that have the greatest worth. Life is a constant struggle between being an individual and being a member of the community. I think in most couples or partnerships, there's a constant struggle for power and dominance. Friendship is tested in the thick years of success rather than in the thin years of struggle. Living in this world, under the dominance of the ego mind, is difficult. That's the struggle. Power, however it has evolved, whatever its origins, will not be given up without a struggle. Struggle is the father of all things. Virtue lies in blood. Leadership is primary and decisive. It is amazing how much we can endure when we are convinced there is a purpose to our struggle. Turning nothing into something is God work, and you get nothing without struggle and hard work. If the truth didn't help anyone and love didn't last, what was there left to struggle toward? Opportunity follows struggle. It follows effort. It follows hard work. It doesn't come before. Life is dear to every living thing. The worm that crawls upon the ground will struggle for it. The present struggle seems less about abolishing big government than about who gets to use it. Need and struggle are what excite and inspire us. Our hour of triumph is what brings the void. The last struggle for our rights, the battle for our civilization, is entirely with ourselves. In a life and death struggle, we cannot afford to leave our destinies in the hands of failures. Motivation is not something I struggle with. I love playing football. I love being in training. Education has become a very powerful weapon in the struggle to produce a well-developed person. And I can just see that sometimes the technique is blasting powder rather than steady struggle. One of the first issues I dealt with was the struggle to find a language, to find my own words. Take up an idea, devote yourself to it, struggle on in patience, and the sun will rise for you. Strength is the product of struggle. You must do what others don't to achieve what others won't. I need to get everything straight. I'm not involved in a power struggle between black and white. I never had an intellectual struggle with the Bible, with the gospel, with the claims of Christ. In the absence of hope, we must still struggle to survive, and so we do by the skin of our teeth. The struggle for jihad and the successes are for the sake of Allah and not to annoy His bondsmen. Often, in the Ruy Lopez, one must be patient, wait and carry on a lengthy and wearisome struggle. The struggle is so great that the triumph over fascism alone is worth the sacrifice of our lives. Every man is born to the world of chaos, and all his life passes with struggle to create an order. I'm not trying to get power over white. I'm involved in a freedom struggle, not a power struggle. I justified it in so many ways. I had a very, very long and difficult struggle with my sexuality. Resolution is struggle. Resolution is ego. Resolution is saying, I cannot live spontaneously. Financial struggle is often the direct result of people working all their lives for someone else. You will only lose when you resist reality. You will only struggle when you disagree with what is. We must struggle for creating a democratic system that is dedicated to democracy and human rights. The struggle goes on. The victory is in the struggle for me, and I accepted that a long time ago. I'd have to struggle to find a subject in which I can't get some kind of interested poll started. My daily conversation, it consists of hustle, grinding from the bottom, sick and tired of struggle. No one wants to see cool people doing brilliantly. I want to see the struggle. That's the fun bit. The armed struggle is not ending just now. We are upholding a ceasefire. We have our arms with us. To write about a struggle amidst the struggling, one must hope that the muddling will end someday. Addiction struggle is believing you are separate from love. It took me a long time to glimpse that. Spiritual life and secure life do not go together. To save oneself, one must struggle and take risks. I'm not afraid to be one of the martyrs people have offered in the struggle for their just demands. The worst thing that can happen to us in an ideological struggle is to become what we are fighting. Lonely's like any other organism, competitive and resourceful in the struggle to perpetuate itself. As long as a man thinks, this struggle must go on, and so long man must have some form of religion. Mythology needs heroes and it needs villains. It needs heroes to fail. It needs heroes to struggle. It is horrible yet fascinating, this struggle between a set purpose and an utterly exhausted frame. When you struggle, you're going to be a little discouraged, but I never felt like I was overmatched. Why do we make so much of knowledge, struggle so hard to get some little skill not worth the effort? In martial arts, the biggest enemy is self. Inside you struggle because you want to prove something. The brain is a muscle of busy hills, the struggle of unthought things with things eternally thought. I'm trying to decide whether to be happy or sad. We have to be better than this or we will struggle. CEOs will struggle to keep themselves and their companies current, relevant, and ahead of the curve. We Athenians hold that it is not poverty that is disgraceful, but the failure to struggle against it. The creative act arises out of the struggle of human beings with and against that which limits them. The goal is partly the enjoyment. It doesn't come later, but within the very process of the struggle. I always joke that every novel is really about the same thing, one person's struggle against society. If I were scared of rednecks, I would have moved on a long time ago. That's not a fear I struggle with. My whole life has been nothing more than a continuous struggle against reaction and the death of art. We have this terrible struggle to try to explain things to people who have no reason to want to know. Every second you spend wishing God would take away a struggle is a forfeited opportunity to overcome. Every day was a struggle. Forget making plans for life. We were just trying to make it to next week. We think we understand another person's struggle until God reveals the same shortcomings in our lives. I used to struggle a little bit with the idea of how to separate singing from acting and entertaining. An artist must struggle to accept the shape of this universe and achieve some important successes. Without struggle, no progress and no result. Every breaking of habit produces a change in the machine. Much of the beauty that arises in art comes from the struggle an artist wages with his limited medium. Nothing, I am sure, calls forth the faculties so much as the being obliged to struggle with the world. That external struggle mirrors the struggle of this life force of energy that was. That competition and the struggle for existence is the mechanism behind this state of perpetual change. Baseball is a 19th century pastoral game. Football is a 20th century technological struggle. When you struggle to reach for something you don't know, that's where most of the interesting stuff is. Despite our best efforts and our highest hopes, America's long struggle with race is far from finished. And know that every struggle in life is there to teach you a lesson. It's times like this that make you. Man's triumph will consist in substituting the struggle for existence by a struggle for mutual service. However small you might be, if necessary, struggle against the mountain of evils however big it may be. There's always been a struggle with filmmakers between art and industry, and you have to find a balance. The sole way to save oneself is to save others, or to struggle to save others, even that is sufficient. Politics are always a struggle for power, disguised and modified by prudence, reason and moral pretext. My energy just could not stop dancing. I was caught up in the music of struggle, and I wanted to dance. It's kinda hard being humble in the belly of the struggle, doing things that probably get you in trouble. We must struggle for whatever may be had, without encroaching on the comfort of others. My car is always black. I really struggle with red cars. I don't want to attract too much competition. Struggle is actually something that is important to the process of understanding what true happiness is. There is one common struggle against those who have appropriated the earth, the money, and the machines. The only real struggle in the history of the world is between the vested interest and social justice. Why is life so difficult for some people and not for others? Why do some people have to struggle so much? The Indian struggle is not anti-British, it is anti-exploitation, anti-foreign rule, not anti-foreigners. The survival or preservation of certain favored words in the struggle for existence is natural selection. In a political struggle of class against class, organization of trade unions is the most important weapon. Available energy is the main object at stake in the struggle for existence and the evolution of the world. In New York, pretending to be above the struggle means no seat on the bus and a table next to the kitchen. Photography has become an outstanding and indispensable means of propaganda in the revolutionary struggle. I have emerged victorious from my 30 years of struggle. I have freed mankind from superfluous ornament. The struggle for the vote was an effort to bring men to feel less superior and women to feel less inferior. To accept the inevitable, neither to struggle against it nor murmur at it, this is the great lesson of life. If you dare to struggle, you dare to win. If you dare not struggle, then damn it, you don't deserve to win. The acid test of any truth is found in whether it aids victims in their struggle to overcome victimization. With men, as with women, the main struggle is between vanity and comfort. But with men, comfort often wins. I try to do 1 to 2 days with no meat. I try to lessen my gluten. Those are things that I struggle with. Calculus is the outcome of a dramatic intellectual struggle which has lasted for 2,500 years. We are plunged in a long and grievous struggle, but all will come right if we all work together to the end. I am not doing any favor, only performing a duty. This victory is a result of struggle of 5 generations. I have a bit of a struggle with some aspects of or forms of Buddhism, but Zen I find to be mainly congenial. If you've been in a symbolic struggle long enough, even when the struggle is over, you don't know it's over. I'm calling for dialogue. I'm gathering attention for dialogue, which is what you do in a struggle for power. Every germ of goodness will at last struggle into bloom, and fruitage. True success follows every right step. Mankind's struggle upwards, in which millions are trampled to death, that thousands may mount on their bodies. Our struggle is not with some monarch named George who inherited the crown, although it often seems that way. You have left me so long to struggle against death, alone, that I feel and see only death. I feel like death. I want us to have it all, love and career. It's a struggle sometime to achieve that, but I love the struggle. We need to make a change while there's still time. It is hard, and at times I struggle trying to reveal mine. I admit that for me love goes deeper than the struggle. Or maybe what I mean is, love is the deeper struggle. We can't win the struggle for high standards if we just talk a good game. We've got to play a good game. The struggle against atheism is foremost and of necessity a struggle against the inadequacy of our own theism. Whatever struggle happened between brothers, let us forget about it and turn the page forever and live united. It is wrong to expect a reward for your struggles. The reward is the act of struggle itself, not what you win. It is the destiny of the theater nearly everywhere and in every period to struggle even when it is flourishing. My wife says I'm only comfortable when there's a fight, and it's true. The thing that motivates me is struggle. I have a hard time with scheduling and with hunkering down and planning. That's always been a struggle for me. He brings to the fierce struggle of politics the tepid enthusiasm of a lazy summer afternoon at a cricket match. Men seek rest in a struggle against difficulties, and when they have conquered these, rest becomes insufferable. The seed of the idea is developed by both labor and the unconscious and the struggle that goes on between them. I was able to not fold and go in a corner because I had my writing as therapy, but also as my tool for struggle. Those men and women are fortunate who are born at a time when a great struggle for human freedom is in progress. I see myself as a creative being. My only fear is compromising my integrity. I guess that's a constant struggle. Ease and luxury, such as our affluence brings today, do not make for maturity. Hardship and struggle, however, do. It can be a real struggle to accept that sometimes appearance can be more important than talent or intelligence. We can win the struggle to avoid responsibility for our personal lives, but if we do, what we lose is our lives. The process of achievement comes through repeated failures and the constant struggle to climb to a higher level. The struggle of the spirit against the senses is the gospel of modern man. I do not wish to have any part in it. Malcolm X had a clear vision and an understanding that he was a part of a broad freedom struggle. How very much horrible would it be if achieving everything was so easy? We bear life because there is struggle. There is a constant struggle between good and evil in the world. It is up to good people to choose the right side. My big struggle has been how to expand my mind without being able to expand my physical experience of the world. One of the primary reasons why people struggle financially is because they cannot control their emotion of fear. Morality is the struggle of the bound will to get free and is the proof that we have come from perfection. When you struggle hard and lose money, you're a hero. When you start making money, you become a capitalist swine. Trans women are getting killed every day, and you think the struggle is over because you can put a ring on a finger. We all have our own areas where we are gifted or where we struggle, and that's at the heart of everyone's journey. When I talk about money, all you see is the struggle. When I tell you I'm living large, you tell me it's trouble. The nobility which exists within any cause is to be found not in any achievement, but instead within the struggle. Adolescence is when the very worst and best impulses in the human soul struggle against each other for possession. We got the vote, which we should have been born with, in 1920. Everything we've had to struggle for, it's ridiculous. Solitude is the place of purification and transformation, the place of the great struggle and the great encounter. In the long, fierce struggle for freedom of opinion, the press, like the church, counted its martyrs by thousands. Our struggle does not end so long as there is a single human being considered untouchable on account of his birth. Life to the great majority is only a constant struggle for mere existence, with the certainty of losing it at last. Rowing is such a fine sport, everyone goes backward, and the leader can see his opponents as they struggle in vain. Consider this: on your birthday you've got life's struggle beaten. For 60 years you've ate and avoided being eaten. Do not struggle against your thoughts. They are stronger than you are. If you want to be free of them, accept them. Many children struggle in schools because the way they are being taught is incompatible with the way they learn. Writing is a necessity and often a pleasure, but at the same time, it can be a great burden and a terrible struggle. Nearly every understanding is gained by a painful struggle in which belief and unbelief are dramatically interwoven. It is a paradox in the contemporary world that in our desire for peace we must willingly give ourselves to struggle. Now let us begin. Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter, but beautiful struggle for a new world. If we think it takes a lot of effort and hard work to get what we want, then our life is going to be about struggle. Only a minute-to-minute relentless struggle can balance one's natural but stupefying insistence to remain unchanged. The struggle for the aim of the liberation of women is the child of fire born on the lap of our liberation movement. We have a lot of work to do. It's a very hard struggle, particularly given the situation on the Iraq-Pakistan border. I don't think of spiritual principle as a struggle. I think of life lived without spiritual principles as a struggle. For better or worse, our future will be determined in large part by our dreams and by the struggle to make them real. To struggle and battle and overcome and absolutely defeat every force designed against us is the only way to achieve. The angels and the saints rejoice at the sight of men on earth who struggle, suffer, and labor for the love of Christ. The main cause of poverty or financial struggle is fear and ignorance, not the economy or the government or the rich. Notice that the whole story of Eden is the story of the struggle over a woman's relationship to a psychoactive plant. Jealousy, which serves the struggle for survival, can deteriorate into the envy which draws defeat even from victory. What we struggle to make of it is our sole gift to Jah. The process of what that struggle becomes, in time, the truth. It isn't enough to believe in something. You have to have the stamina to meet obstacles and overcome them, to struggle. One who loves God retains this humility at all times, not with weariness and struggle, but with pleasure and gladness. Passion is power, and, kindly tempered, saves. All things declare struggle hath deeper peace than sleep can bring. My bedroom is so messy, if I died of natural causes, the cops would be like, no he didn't. Clearly there was a struggle. I think the thing that has always made me happy is being in the struggle, in a community of struggle with other people. Once you take away the struggle for food, clothing, and shelter, work is the one four-letter word that offends everyone. There is no need to drag yourself through life. Let go of the struggle and give yourself the time and love to find balance. The view of life as a struggle for power generates a language in which life has no significance and only power matters. One friend with whom you have a lot in common is better than 3 with whom you struggle to find things to talk about. My dad would tell me to play for those who couldn't play, so my motivation is for people who struggle in life daily. We should try to link our personal lives with the cause for which we struggle, with the cause of building communism. Poetry affords us a respite in which we may gather renewed strength for the old struggle to adapt ourselves to reality. I struggle to be rugged and raw dude, trying to survive in the trials and lawsuits. Everybody wants to test me. Why me? Where you find obesity, you'll find poverty. It's a reflection of the South's struggle to raise its standard of living. A great deal of world politics is a fundamental struggle, but it is also a struggle that has to be waged intelligently. My creative life is a constant struggle to achieve a balance between letting things flow in and letting things flow out. Nothing is quite so horrifying and paralyzing as to win the Oedipal struggle and to be awarded your mother as the prize. Teaching is only interesting because you struggle with trying to talk about photographs that work, you see. The conflict of forces and the struggle of opposing wills are of the essence of our universe and alone hold it together. The Cold War was really the great struggle of the 20th century, and it shaped American political life from top to bottom. I really struggle to get up in the morning, but I also get my best ideas really late at night when I'm trying to sleep. Begin today. Declare out loud to the universe that you are willing to let go of struggle and eager to learn through joy. To think I have had more than 60 years of hard struggle for a little liberty, and then to die without it seems so cruel. But if by some miracle and all our struggle, the earth is spared, only justice to every living being will save humankind. We made an amazing video about Newtown's struggle to figure out what to do with all the letters and art sent to the town. Do not struggle, go with the flow of things, and you will find yourself at one with the mysterious unity of the universe. One of the things I appreciate more was how important struggle was as the instrument that helped to keep us knit together. When men struggle for the single life God has given them, even their own kind seem no more than the beasts of the wood. Always turn to God in the midst of your struggle and view people who offended you as an instruments of divine sovereignty. The struggle with evil by means of violence is the same as an attempt to stop a cloud in order that there may be no rain. Perhaps the hardest thing I've learned and still struggle with is that I don't have to be finished in order to be whole. If you are a man of learning, read something classic, a history of the human struggle, and don't settle for mediocre verse. Our relations with others are not external, they enter into our very identity, and that's why people struggle with them so. The real struggle is not between the right and the left, but between the party of the thoughtful and the party of the jerks. Sometimes people think, you don't get to have it all, you don't get to be happy, life's a struggle. But what if it's not? Sociability is as much a law of nature as mutual struggle. Mutual aid is as much a law of animal life as mutual struggle. I had met American artists and just couldn't believe their energy. London was always such a struggle to get anything going. Where is the society which does not struggle along under a dead weight of tradition and law inherited from its grandfather? I believe it's true that there's good and evil in everyone, and it's a constant struggle to have your better angels prevail. All who surrender will be spared. Whoever does not surrender, but opposes with struggle and dissension, shall be annihilated. If we didn't struggle through some things, we would never develop the strength and stamina we need to survive in this world. The heart unites whatever the mind separates, pushes on beyond the arena of necessity, and transmutes the struggle into love. Every artist has his or her struggle to work out in their work. The more powerful the struggle, the more persuasive the art. Men are not put into this world to go the path of ease. They are put into this world to go the path of pain and struggle. A political struggle that does not have women at the heart of it, above it, below it, and within it is no struggle at all. I always tell people that a revolution is not an event, it's a process. It is a struggle, and it doesn't usually go smoothly. Chess reflects the real world in miniature. Endeavor, struggle, success, and defeat, they are part of each game ever played. It's funny how you can struggle with one piece and write a better one in a minute. When things come easy, it means it's good. Trying to figure things out was my gig. Without the human condition, there's no struggle, no pain, and that means no laughter. Don't ask me to give in to this body of mine. I can't afford it. Between me and my body there must be a struggle until death. There's a lot that is awful. That's the struggle of getting old. To make sure you don't let what's hard obscure the beauty. You don't have to push or pull or fight or win. The struggle is illusory. Sometimes, or rather, all times, you just have to be. Happiness is the struggle towards a summit, and when it is attained, it is happiness to glimpse new summits on the other side. Glorification of the natural is part of the ideology which protects an unnatural society in its struggle against liberation. Literature is one of the few areas left where black and white feel some identity of purpose. We all struggle under censorship. What's great about it is that you see, the great struggle for gay people is that the politics is just not going to work for us. My life wasn't beautiful and creative before I became politically active. My life was totally changed when I began to struggle. I walked all those miles. I learned all those lessons. It's as if my new life was the gift I got at the end of a long struggle. It was ordained that our earthly pilgrimage should be a struggle, and life would be a tame affair if everything went smoothly. In the struggle for existence, it is only on those who hang on for 10 minutes after all is hopeless that hope begins to dawn. Some things you can only learn in the struggle. When it's easy, when everything is going your way, that doesn't take any faith. I vary my days between skiing and snowboarding. I can go fast down pisted runs, but still struggle in the bumps on a snowboard. How can you admit that your only hope is divine grace and then throw condemnation at another sinner when you see them struggle? To be honest, I couldn't hold a conversation with anybody in any language other than English, and that's a struggle sometimes. I struggle in these situations not to let my madness govern me and to let the positive aspects of my character define my life. This human struggle and scramble for office, for a way to live without work, will finally test the strength of our institutions. I've got actor friends who didn't get breaks, who struggle and worry about things that I'm fortunate not to have to worry about. Even if I do not see the fruits, the struggle has been worthwhile. If my life has taught me anything, it is that one must fight. To let go in the deepest recesses of the heart, to release all struggle and wanting, leads us to that knowing which is timeless. Freedom demands that we struggle for an extension of both equality and free expression, not regard one as inimical to the other. I have learned from nature that dependence on unnatural beliefs weakens us in the struggle and shortens our breath for the race. Life can be cruel. It has been my struggle, my personal battle, my obsession to make people see that different isn't always bad. You do not have to struggle to reach God, but you do have to struggle to tear away the self-created veil that hides Him from you. I believe in struggle, and I believe that the struggle is beautiful. You have to try it or you will never know what's beyond it. If you want to realize the truth, don't be for or against. The struggle between good and evil is the primal disease of the mind. During much of my life, I was anxious to be what someone else wanted me to be. Now I have given up that struggle. I am what I am. Freedom means the supremacy of human rights everywhere. Our support goes to those who struggle to gain those rights or keep them. Soon as the struggle passed, and to the earth, to the eternal sun, I render back these atoms, joined in me for pain and pleasure. But it was all right, everything was all right. The struggle was finished. He had won the victory over himself. He loved Big Brother. Let's put a limit to the scramble for money. Having got what you wanted, you ought to begin to bring that struggle to an end. If there were no contradictions and no struggle, there would be no world, no process, no life, and there would be nothing at all. People struggle most with seeing new ways of doing things and often need help in breaking through their tradition-bound mindsets. I have always had that inner drive since my birth, and I have always devoted myself gladly to work and to the struggle. Patriarchy is a disease, and we are in perennial recovery and relapse, so you have to get up every morning and struggle against it. The struggle we're dealing with these days, which, I think, is part of what the 60 seconds represented, is how do we define our humanity? The greatest things in life all require commitment, sacrifice, some struggle and hardship. It's not easy, but absolutely worth it. Equality means more than passing laws. The struggle is really won in the hearts and minds of the community, where it really counts. The habit of virtue cannot be formed in a closet. Habits are formed by acts of reason in a persevering struggle through temptation. The public life of every political figure is a continual struggle to rescue an element of choice from the pressure of circumstance. I believe it's easy to serve God if we learn to hear from Him before we struggle to do things for Him that He never asked us to do. A nonviolent struggle necessarily involves construction on a small scale. It cannot therefore lead to tamas or darkness or inertia. The angel is free because of his knowledge, the beast because of his ignorance. Between the two remains the Son of Man to struggle. I don't know why songwriters struggle. They have to, I guess. If you're a young songwriter, quit struggling. It makes you look bad. Understood what the struggle was about. My mother couldn't read or write, but she had more sense than many a graduate from Harvard. Meditation is the only way to freedom from stress, as it is a dimension beyond the mind. All the stress and struggle are of the mind. But I am a girl with a keen interest in having it all, and what follows are hopeful dispatches from the front lines of that struggle. I'm quite satisfied on one thing. If we had not carried out our struggle, Cambodia would have become another Kampuchea Krom in 1975. The struggle is to stay present enough when you're taking your next step forward that you're really making your most honest choices. There is no struggle too vast, no odds too overwhelming, for even should we fail, should we fall, we will know that we have lived. It is the patient building of character, the intense struggle to realize the truth, which alone will tell in the future of humanity. Money originated with royalty and slavery. It has nothing to do with democracy or the struggle of the impoverished enslaved majority. Feminism as a political movement has to specifically address the needs of men in their struggle to revolutionize their consciousness. Men often struggle with their attraction to other women. They don't quite understand why they have to be with the same woman forever. Let me not then die ingloriously and without a struggle, but let me first do some great thing that shall be told among men hereafter. It takes resolution to go forth from the ease and beautiful simplicity of a well-formed hypothesis and struggle with amorphous facts. Unlike films, which can be easily disseminated worldwide via DVDs and the internet, plays struggle to find an international audience. Women's fight for equal rights is essentially a humanist and peaceful struggle for true democracy and a higher form of civilization. All of us are subject to being passive to the social ills around us. It's a struggle not to become, by staying silent, an accomplice. Life is like a wrestling match we struggle to fight, but we never know that the only side that wins is the one with great love in it. Most people are poor not because they are not smart. Most people are poor or struggle financially because they're fearful of losing. Modern war appears as a struggle led by all the state apparatuses and their general staffs against all men old enough to bear arms. We do two things in life. We race the clock and everything is a struggle. One way or not, it's a metaphorical battle all of the time. To struggle when hope is banished, to live when life's salt is gone, to dwell in a dream that's vanished, to endure and go calmly on. I write and a lot of times I go back to the American lens, though sometimes it's a struggle to come from that perspective. If you're out there and need help, please seek it. Be proud of your valiant day-to-day struggle. There is no shame in needing support. And at some point, the struggle becomes too tiring, and you consider letting go, allowing tragedy or whatever to happen. For a nonviolent struggle, there is no age limit. The blind, the maimed, and the bedridden may serve, and not only men, but women also. A mother's love is a sanctuary where our soul can find sweet rest from the struggle and the tension of life's vast and futile quest. Today, chess programs have become so good that even grandmasters sometimes struggle to understand the logic behind some of their moves. I think that's the struggle of our normality, is that we have oppressed desires because of what is accepted and not accepted in society. Without the burden of afflictions, it is impossible to reach the height of grace. The gift of grace increases as the struggle increases. There are 16-year-olds competing at the Olympics, and I still push on pull doors and struggle getting through the whole day without a nap. Fully biodegradable structures are nowadays the ideal and the standards to which most, if not all, structures struggle to measure up. Character develops in stream of struggle and adversity. Character is foundation of your inner beauty, which reflects in your personality. The force of the blow depends on the resistance. It is sometimes better not to struggle against temptation. Either fly or yield at once. When you don't work together, you can't emerge as a force. It becomes what some call a lonely struggle and individual self-destruction. A nation will not count the sacrifice it makes if it supposes it is engaged in a struggle for its fame, its influence, and its existence. We can tentatively credit capitalist civilization with a positive, if very geographically uneven, record in the struggle against disease. I think at the end of a show, you have to walk out with a message. That's my hardest struggle right now. That's what I'm working towards. Power concedes nothing without a demand. The struggle for justice must never be adjourned. The forces of injustice do not take vacations. Every play I do, every book I write, every painting I paint, I will struggle with. I don't know what it's like for a project to come easy. Sometimes you feel in control, and it's great, but sometimes you just don't feel in control, and you really have to struggle to get laughs. Your struggle is your strength. If you can resist becoming negative, bitter, or hopeless, in time, your struggles will give you everything. It is only after years of struggle and deprivation that the young artist should touch color, and then only in the company of his betters. By placing confidence in violent means, one has chosen the very type of struggle with which the oppressors nearly always have superiority. Liberty isn't a thing you are given as a present. You can be a free man under a dictatorship. It is sufficient if you struggle against it. You win by struggle, and that requires understanding and serious analysis of the options and the circumstances, and then you can do a lot. My veins do not end in me, but in the unanimous blood of those who struggle for life, love, things, landscape, and bread, the poetry of all. None of Ho Chi Minh's colleagues was as dedicated to the use of political struggle, psychological warfare, and diplomatic means as he was. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but Cambodians learn something in their suffering and their struggle that we have lost touch with. Is it not in the struggle to obtain knowledge that happiness exists? I am very ignorant, consequently the conditions of happiness are mine. The struggle with the past is not a hand-to-hand fight. The future overcomes it by swallowing it. If it leaves anything outside, it is lost. Sculpture may be almost anything: a monument, a statue, an old coin, a bas-relief, a portrait bust, a lifelong struggle against heavy odds. In the current struggle, there is one positive course of action. There is no alternative, for the alternative would connote a rear march. When you have worked with people all day who have so little and struggle to make it stretch, who live outside the rarefied, you are humbled. The conflict between the need to belong to a group and the need to be seen as unique and individual is the dominant struggle of adolescence. Struggle for freedom, where people are denied the right of choice, recourse to such struggle is the only means of achieving their liberties. Annoyance and pathos warred in my breast, and after a short struggle, annoyance punched pathos in the snout like the voracious shark it was. Simultaneously, the left opposition in the course of several years carried on a struggle against the Stalinists in favor of collectivization. The young people are the ones who most quickly identify with the struggle and the necessity to eliminate the evil conditions that exist. I've always been drawn to stories and characters facing some sort of struggle against forces beyond our control, be it love, loss, betrayal. The struggle which is now beginning between the Zionist and Bolshevik Jews is little less than a struggle for the soul of the Jewish people. Success makes opportunities, and so many of those opportunities are actually exemptions from hardship, from unfriendliness, from struggle. No matter how many mistakes you've made in the past, or what sort of difficulties you struggle with now, you are destined to live in victory. I've been trying to bust into the comedy business my whole life. It's hard in Hollywood to do different things. I know this. It's a struggle. There's always that struggle between me wanting to keep new and fresh and then I can never get with pop songs being so repetitive. I was disappointed, but I kind of knew it was going to be an uphill struggle because of how strong the first season was. For me, acting is pretending. It's illuminating my human struggle, trying to grow, and have the courage to be filmed while figuring things out. The warrior, silent in his struggle, undetainable because he has nothing to lose, functional and efficacious because he has everything to gain. Question: why does life have to feel like such a struggle at times? Answer: because without the struggle, the triumphs wouldn't taste as sweet. We must struggle for our dreams, but when certain paths prove impossible, it would be best to save our energies in order to travel other roads. These last years are as important as any that have gone before, nor will any other of our years vitiate or excuse them. The struggle continues. We must love one another. Only so can our long years of toil and struggle reach full reward, and we be crowned with life everlasting. Success is brought by continued labor and continued watchfulness. We must struggle on, not for one moment hesitate, nor take one backward step. I will argue that every scrap of biological diversity is priceless, to be learned and cherished, and never to be surrendered without a struggle. What doesn't bend must break when dooms are apportioned and destiny takes the lead, as it will now and as it must until this struggle ends. There's always got to be a struggle. What else is there? That's what life is made of. I don't know anything else. If there is, tell me about it. Now, at the end of 3 years' struggle, the nation's condition is not what either party or any man devised or expected. God alone can claim it. More and more leaders around the world are joining the struggle. More and more individuals understand that any abuse of any woman is intolerable. We are trying to persuade all the Iraqi opposition to come breathe freedom in Iraq and use liberated Kurdistan as a base for our common struggle. Telling about our lives is important for those who come after us, for those who will see our experience as part of their own historical struggle. Self-indulgence leads only to misery. Nothing great or even worthwhile is ever accomplished without struggle through adversity and self-sacrifice. He who would live must fight. He who doesn't wish to fight in this world, where permanent struggle is the law of life, has not the right to exist. I'm still fighting. I don't know how much longer, but I'm still fighting a struggle, which is to make cinema alive and not just make another film. He who receives a great many letters demanding answer sees himself as if engaged in a hopeless struggle of one man against the rest of the world. Stars do not struggle to shine, rivers do not struggle to flow, and you will never struggle to excel in life because of the power of your passion. For many years now, I feel like my own body struggle has been linked and connected with women I meet in the world. I think we're in this together. Women are necessarily capable of almost anything in their struggle for survival and can scarcely be convicted of such man-made crimes as cruelty. Death was not the opposite of life. It was already here, within my being. It had always been here, and no struggle would permit me to forget that. We expected anyway that the democratic forces which have agreed with us in Zimbabwe would have rallied behind us, but it was a difficult struggle. The struggle to be original hates conformity, but the struggle to be better disregards it, or takes advantage of it to build workable conventions. Be strong. We are not here to play, to dream, to drift. We have hard work to do and loads to lift. Shun not the struggle, face it. 'Tis God's gift. Judge, there's a genuine struggle going on well beyond you, well beyond the Congress, in America about how to read the Constitution. I struggle for what I believe in. Life is short. It's impossible to repeat something. You have to take advantage of things when you can reach them. The three most important things for a sportscaster are knowledge of the game, a passion for sports and the profession, and the stamina to struggle. Although spiritual growth puts our wills to the test, after the battle has been won, we recognize that the Lord is the true victor in the struggle. I like to live in the present. I struggle with that, though, because even for all of this letting your life flow stuff, I also have anxieties. I surrender myself to everything. I love, I feel pain, I struggle. The world seems to me wider than the mind, my heart a dark and almighty mystery. The struggle for justice doesn't end with me. This struggle is for all the Troy Davises who came before me and all the ones who will come after me. Say not the struggle not availeth, the labor and the wounds are vain. The enemy faints not, nor faileth, and as things have been, things remain. A bad guy always assumes he's going to win, whereas the good guy has to struggle with, what if I lose? And the audience wants to struggle with him. This terrible tragedy, the entire international community should unite in the struggle against terrorism. This is a blatant challenge to humanity. It was a death struggle every day. Being a Yankee, you either won or you lost. There was no second place. Half of us were nuts by the end of a season. Happiness is to take up the struggle in the midst of the raging storm, and not to pluck the lute in the moonlight or recite poetry among the blossoms. If you are not in alignment with the moment, life is a struggle. Really, all you have to do is take responsibility for your inner alignment with now. The eternal struggle in the law between constancy and change is largely a struggle between history and reason, between past reason and present needs. There's something in human nature, the trying to get on with it quality of people. The struggle to maintain or keep the show going can be exhausting. Revolution, the substitution of one social system for another, has always been a struggle, a painful and a cruel struggle, a life and death struggle. I guess that's the upside of not being young anymore. You know from experience that the struggle always leads, in some way, to something better. I still occasionally need to struggle, but I now fear it less. The weapons I fight it with are also my consolations: books, music, food, wine, nature. Struggle so that all may live this rich, overflowing life, and be sure that in this struggle you will find a joy greater than anything else can give. The struggle for existence is a struggle for something. It is purposeful, and only in so being is it meaningful and able to bring meaning into life. Go out on the stage as a human being and do not be afraid to show struggle in your music. It's a struggle in life, and then struggle, and then victory. If workers struggle for higher wages, this is hailed as social gains. If businessmen struggle for higher profits, this is damned as selfish greed. I'm okay with standing in my way and in turn allowing it to impede my progress, but I'm okay with the struggle of overcoming obstacles despite myself. With some of the bad things that come with love, there's also a lot of good. For example, that connection, which I struggle to have with most people. The organic laws of construction tangled me in my desires, and only with great pain, effort, and struggle did I break through these walls around art. Poverty often hides her charms under an ugly mask, yet thousands have been forced into greatness by their very struggle to keep the wolf from the door. The whole mythology of Westeros begins with the struggle between the children of the forest and different warring factions before the first men arrive. It was a struggle for me as a kid, and everyone knows struggle, whether it's financially, economically, your dreams of becoming whatever you want to be. It's just stunning to watch churches struggle to get mission statements when there it is, the Great Commission, and they should simply do what it says. The struggle to make an absolute statement in an individually conceived vocabulary accounts for the profound tensions inherent in the best modern work. I struggle every day with trying to be a better dad, a better husband, better musician, better artist. It consumes me, and I don't see an end in sight. Whatever your struggle, my brothers and sisters, mental or emotional or physical or otherwise, do not vote against the preciousness of life by ending it. I believe that Brother Fidel Castro is one of the greatest revolutionaries in the history of the struggle of human beings to attain their human rights. You have to compete in life, because if you don't have no competition, no spirit, you'll fall under the slightest struggle. Where there is a living memory of struggle, they have a living memory of the rebellion. Where there's no struggle afterward, the rebellion is forgotten. I would love nothing more to participate in a real struggle to find a character and really delve into and develop a character. That's why I'm an actor. Painting what I experience, translating what I feel, is a great liberation, but it is also work, self-examination, consciousness, criticism, struggle. It is crucial for the future of the Black liberation struggle that we remain ever mindful that ours is a shared struggle, that we are each other's fate. My service solidified my respect for our freedom and the struggle to preserve it. I know the cost of obtaining freedom, keeping it, and the value of it. Cinema is the greatest mirror of humanity's struggle. You see this alternative world, but you're part of it. Everybody is part of it. This is our world. The struggle for freedom is not the struggle of the many against the few, but of minorities, sometimes of a minority of but one man against the majority. To die with elation is a crappy way of dying. A warrior dies the hard way. His death must struggle to take him. A warrior does not give himself to it. As I play the game of life, I try to make it better each and every day. And when I struggle in the night, the magic of the music seems to light the way. As a writer, I have always considered it my job to describe the world as I know it, to struggle toward whatever portion of the truth is available to me. When we experience the power of the self, there is an absence of fear. There is no compulsion to control, and no struggle for approval or external power. American politics is a struggle, not of men, but of forces. The men become every year more and more creatures of force, massed about central power houses. I think really the whole problem with racism and its continuing legacy in this country is that we simply love it. Who would we be without the struggle? The history of struggle is rich with stories of heroes and heroines, some of them leaders, some of them followers. All of them deserve to be remembered. There was a whole language that I could never make function for myself in relationship to painting, and that was attitudes like tortured, struggle, pain. Either the human being must suffer and struggle as the price of a more searching vision, or his gaze must be shallow and without intellectual revelation. I think the most interesting thing about any story is how people change. That's usually a struggle, because change is pretty much an uncomfortable thing. However important the struggle is, and however much misery and poverty and degradation exist, we know that it cannot be more important than one human life. To me, football is very personal. Even as a kid, I looked at football in dramaturgical terms. It wasn't the score that interested me, it was the struggle. We still have to struggle against the impact of racism, but it doesn't happen in the same way. I think it is much more complicated today than it ever was. It's hard enough to get any movie made, and when you take on these tough genres, and I've done it a couple times, it just makes the whole struggle more. Life is a climb and it's a struggle getting to the top, but the drop to the bottom can be quick, and so I think you have to embrace every moment of the day. My backswing off the first tee had put him in mind of an elderly woman of dubious morals trying to struggle out of a dress too tight around the shoulders. When you struggle winning matches all year and you don't really get into a groove or rhythm, you just can't expect to just come in here and have it click. I think that in order to struggle, you have to be creative. In my life, creativity has been something that has sustained me. It awoke my spiritual struggle. The secrets I receive reflect the full spectrum of complicated issues that many of us struggle with every day: intimacy, trust, meaning, humor, and desire. The bad guys I play don't want to be bad. It's the struggle between the part of them that's an animal and the part that's the intellect that's interesting. I was driven from my position as Interior Secretary, not because of my environmental record, but because of my Christian beliefs. That's the real struggle. Our patterns are well established, seductive, and comforting. Just wanting for them to be ventilated isn't enough. Those of us who struggle with this know. Love interest nearly always weakens a mystery because it introduces a type of suspense that is antagonistic to the detective's struggle to solve a problem. I believe every young woman needs to know that though you may have to struggle and strive to achieve your dreams, you can have oodles of fun along the way. A struggle for existence is not a decent living. A man or woman or child may die of starvation in a city teeming with plenty. Only human life is concerned. There is no more important struggle for American democracy than ensuring a diverse, independent, and free media. Free press is at the heart of that struggle. As the struggle for survival has subsided, the question has emerged: survival for what? Ever more people have the means to live, but no meaning to live for. Winning has nothing to do with racing. Most days don't have races anyway. Winning is about struggle and effort and optimism, and never, ever, ever giving up. Make no mistake, I always want to win, but I never fight with an opponent. My fight is within me. It is the struggle to be the best I can be at whatever I do. When I was 17 years old, I put out an album while my mother was dying of cancer. That right there alone is a struggle. That's hard. That's tough for anybody. Friday means popcorn and multiplexes. Speaking of movies, and it is the multi that is the problem. So many movie screens, the struggle of what to put on them. In London, Washington, and Paris, people talk of bonuses or no bonuses. In parts of Africa, South Asia, and Latin America, the struggle is for food or no food. I fall, I stand still, I trudge on, I gain a little, I get more eager and climb higher and begin to see the widening horizon. Every struggle is a victory. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was, though some principle of being abides, from which I struggle not to stray. Whether it's at their job or their family, whatever, everyone feels that they're stuck in some kind of struggle. The idea is how to find your way out of it. In the survival of favored individuals and races during the constantly recurring struggle for existence, we see a powerful and ever-acting form of selection. There is always a moment in any kind of struggle when one feels in full bloom, vivid, alive. One might be blown to bits in such a moment and still be at peace. He who lives as children live, who does not struggle for his bread, and does not believe that his actions possess any ultimate significance, remains childlike. The latest literary discussions reflect a struggle between two artistic methods, Romanticism and realism, with the latter clearly ascendant for the time being. The hard part for me is rest. I am a person who stays up late. If I go to bed early, I don't sleep, but I know I have to rest. That is always a struggle for me. The art of walking on quicksand is still beyond me. What I learned is only how difficult this art is to master and how hard people need to struggle to learn it. Good nature is, of all moral qualities, the one that the world needs most, and good nature is the result of ease and security, not of a life of arduous struggle. Slipping away are the hopes that made bliss out of sorrow, and sun out of shade. Slipping away is our hold on life, and out of the struggle and wearing strife. Being born with a disability can sometimes be a struggle, but it is the ability to overcome such a challenge that makes it so worth the fight. Never give up. Maybe my great struggle, and it's probably not anything different from too many other people, but it certainly is what drives the music, is a hugely internal one. We often cause ourselves suffering by wanting only to live in a world of valleys, a world without struggle and difficulty, a world that is flat, plain, consistent. Is it too much to ask that women be spared the daily struggle for superhuman beauty in order to offer it to the caresses of a subhumanly ugly mate? Discipline in art is a fundamental struggle to understand oneself as much as to understand what one is drawing. My struggles is a record close to me. It's about what I went through at home living with an abusive father. Every time we push personal development aside, we invite personal struggle into our lives. For a man of my generation, our century has been a long intellectual and political struggle in favor of freedom. With all our mastery over the powers of nature, we have adhered to the view that the struggle for existence is a permanent and necessary condition of life. Getting my lifelong weight struggle under control has come from a process of treating myself as well as I treat others in every way. The struggle between centralization and decentralization is at the core of American history. History is a record of the incessant struggle of humanity against ignorance and oppression. Most people struggle financially because they take advice from salespeople, not rich people. Whenever women struggle with breast cancer and face better care than ever, that's feminism. Certain members of the oppressor class join the oppressed in their struggle for liberation. Is the human condition not defined by an endless struggle to control the ego's subterfuges? Originality and a feeling of one's own dignity are achieved only through work and struggle. Parenting is a constant struggle between making your kids' life better and ruining your own. Talking to other people who make low-budget movies, everyone kind of has the same struggle. I think in most couples or partnerships, there's a constant struggle for power and dominance. Is the human condition not defined by an endless struggle to control the ego's subterfuges? Originality and a feeling of one's own dignity are achieved only through work and struggle. The central struggle of parenthood is to let our hopes for our children outweigh our fears. It's the things you fight for and struggle with before earning that have the greatest worth. Nothing so tires a person as having to struggle, not with himself, but with an abstraction. The hope of remaking the world is indispensable in the struggle of oppressed men and women. I struggle to learn by rote. I've had meltdowns on set, which is embarrassing and shameful. Life is a constant struggle between being an individual and being a member of the community. Writing a book is a horrible, exhausting struggle, like a long bout of some painful illness. Maybe to feel superior in struggle was sensed when people were aware to fight for identity. Love Our Lady, and she will obtain abundant grace to help you conquer in your daily struggle. Friendship is tested in the thick years of success rather than in the thin years of struggle. The future is hidden by a dark, impenetrable veil, and yet we struggle to pierce through it. If there ever is a struggle, making a good movie will always supersede the need to be noble. When I was engaged in the struggle for my country, I was very young. My horizons were open. Man owes his strength in the struggle for existence to the fact that he is a social animal. I want to struggle and make films. It's not a financial thing, it's more of a who I am thing. What else is life from the time you were born but a struggle to matter, at least to someone? A woman can look both moral and exciting if she also looks as if it was quite a struggle. I feel like love is the thing we were created for, yet it's the place we struggle the most. Which quote did you like the most? Share your opinion in the comments. Don't miss out on a chance to see the next video. Subscribe.